Came you from the church?
As lonely as air came from school.
And is the bride and bridegroom coming home?
A bridegroom, you say? 'Tis a groom indeed, a grumbly groom, and that the girl shall find.
Curser than she? Why, 'tis impossible.
Why, he's a devil, a very fiend.
Why, she's a devil, the devil's damn.
Tut! She's a lamb, a dove, a fool to him. Let me tell you, Sir Lucentio, when the priest should ask if Catherine should be his bride, "Aye, by God's wounds," quoth he, and swore so loud that, all amazed, the priest let fall the book. And when he stooped again to pick it up, this mad-brained bridegroom took him such a cuff that down fell the priest and book and priest. "Now pick it up," quoth he, "if any list."
What said the wench when he rose again?
Trembled and shook for wine, he stamped and swore as if the vicar meant to cozen him. But after many ceremonies done, he calls for wine. "A health," quoth he, as if he had been carousing to his mates after a storm, quaffed up the wine, and threw the sops in the sexton's face, having no other reason but that his beard grew thin and hungerly and seemed to be asking him sops while he was drinking. This time he took the bride around the neck and kissed her with such a clamorous smack that at the parting all the church did echo. And I, seeing this, came thence for very shame. And after me, I know, the rout does follow me. Hark, hark, I hear the minstrels play.
Gentlemen and friends, I thank you for your pains, and I know you think to dine with me tonight. And you prepared a great store of wedding cheer, but as it is, my haste doth call me hence, and therefore I am here to take my leave.
Is it possible you'll away tonight?
No. See, I must make a way today. Make it no wonder. If you knew my business, you would entreat me to go rather than to stay. And, honest companions, I thank you all, those who beheld me, to give myself away, such a patient, sweet, and virtuous wife. Dine with my father, drink a health to me, for I must hence, and farewell to you all.
Let us entreat you stay till after dinner.
It may not be.
Let me entreat you.
It cannot be.
Let me entreat you.
I am content.
Are you content to stay?
I am content that you entreat me to stay. But stay not yet. You could entreat me next day.
Now if you love me, stay.
Groom me on my horse.
Aye, sir, they are ready. The oats have eaten the horses. Nay then, do as thou canst. I shall not go today. No, nor tomorrow. Not till I have pleased myself. The door is open, sir. There lies your way. You may be jogging while your boots are green. For me, I'll not be gone till I please myself. 'Tis like you'll prove a jolly surly groom, that taketh on you at the first so roundly.
Oh, Kate, content thee. Prithee, be not so angry.
I will be angry. What hast thou to do? Father, be quiet. He shall stay my leisure.
Aye, marry, sir, now it begins to work.
Gentlemen, forward to the bridal dinner. I see a woman may be made a fool, had she not a spirit to resist.
They shall go, Catherine, at thy command. Obey the bride, those who do attend her today. Go to the feast and revel and domineer. Rouse full measure of her maidenhead. Be mad and merry, or go hang yourselves. Nay, not look big, nor stamp, nor stare, nor fret. I will be master of all that is mine. She is my goods, my chastel, and my home. My household stuff, my fields, and my barns. She is my horse, my ox, my ass, my anything. And here she stands, and touch her whoever dare. I'll bring my action, proudest of he that stops in my way of Padua. Grumio, draw forth thy weapons, for we are the bestest with the thieves. Rescue my mistress, if thou shalt be a man, for not sweet wrench, no one shall touch thee, Catherine. I'll bucker thee against 1,000,000.
Nay, let them go, a couple of quiet ones.
Would they not quickly should die with laughing?
Of all mad matches, never was the like. Mistress, what's your opinion of your sister?
That being mad herself, she's madly mated.
I warned him, Petruchio is cated.
Neighbors and friends, through bride and bridegroom wants, for to supply the places at the table, you know the wants, no junkets, and the feast. Essentially, you shall supply the bridegroom's place, and let Bianca take her sister's room.
Shall sweet Bianca practice how to bride it?
She shall, Lucentio. Come, gentlemen, let's go.
And here we sit down with our actors, starting with Andrew. How did you express yourself as the way you did for your character?
Well, I chose the outfit that I chose because Gremio he was kind of a lord. He was an old guy, so I wore an older fashioned outfit, but I also wore something that was quite expensive because Gremio himself was a lord. He's a very rich fellow. So I wore the outfit I wore because of that. Made sure I was pretty polished for that reason. And my posture kind of reflected that also, I think. I had more of a straighter posture because I needed to show that I was like an older person and more of a gentleman, which is how Gremio is. And the way I articulated my words, I would think also represents that my voice was more stern than casual, which is how people were expected to speak.
What was the importance of your role?
Gremio, he had a large speaking role, but he himself wasn't very important to like the plot or character development or anything like that. His importance was to narrate like what was going on with Petruchio and kind of tell the audience what was going on and tell it in a comedic way.
So what was Petruchio doing in this scene?
I found him more to be, like, whenever you look at how he was speaking, he was being really sarcastic, but what I noticed in some of the lines was that it was also kind of telling a message to the other people what he was doing with Kate. Like, when he says the very first line, "Gentlemen and friends, I thank you for your pains," he's thanking them for putting up with all the things that he's doing at the wedding. And when he tells them, "My haste doth call me hence," his haste is the mission. And so there's lines like that throughout what Petruchio is saying that tells the other people what he's doing with Kate, and he's thanking them for putting up with him. And you can kind of see that further when his second kind of monologue is, "You wouldn't you rather go than stay if you knew his mission?" That's kind of what he's saying there. And another really sarcastic spot you can see is when, "To this most patient, sweet, and virtuous wife." That's multiple parts. You can say that sarcastic is meant to humiliate Kate, and that's part of what he's doing. But it's also telling the others what he's trying to make Kate become, or he's trying to convince himself that Kate's going to be that way sometime. And it's just things like that you can see throughout. That he's not just being sarcastic, he's subtly sending a message to the others what he's doing.
Since his few lines are mostly about Bianca, so shows that thing of Baptista being more partial to Bianca because he wants to have a better image for his family. Shakespeare's major theme of the views on women in Shakespearean times are also shown just by Baptista's image of his daughters. The packet which we read in class on the views of women, such as the good wife and the unquiet woman. The good wife is probably Bianca and the unquiet woman is Kate. And in the packet it shows the unquiet woman as just being like evil and not really like, no one wants her as a wife. And so nowadays obviously outgoing is fine. Shakespeare wanted to show that outgoing women in that time were looked down upon. That's why Kate is known as the Shrew. I believe that Shakespeare uses this theme of women to show that Kate, she was so looked down upon when she was being the unquiet woman, but when she changed, that's when everyone else's opinion changed of her. So that just shows that times have changed so much for women, and Shakespeare's play really creates an image for our people in this generation to see how it was like back then.
I played Kate, and I think in the beginning she comes off as like different from how she normally has. She's portrayed as more of a vulnerable side instead of just being like the shrew, such as Shakespeare has to refer back to herself with like very personal requests, and he also has her use the word me, which hasn't really been done throughout the play. One example is when she requests "let me entreat you" to Petruchio, which is very personal, being his wife. She's now offering this. And the second being the even more vulnerable incorporation of love to the scene with the Now If You Love Me, Stay. With the Now If You Love Me, Stay, which brings in that element of love, which is something Kate is always bottled up and not really exposed to. So she's expecting an obvious yes. When Petruchio rejects her, she puts up those walls again, and she's no longer seen as the vulnerable side as Kate. She's back to being the shrew. And she uses a lot of anger, and she's a lot of anger and hurt, and Shakespeare communicates that through her angry, sarcastic tone. And then her very direct insults to Petruchio as a man, already calling him a jolly, surly groom right after their wedding, insulting him very personally as a husband. And all of this is used in an attempt to wound Petruchio and hurt him the way that he hurt her.
I think Tranio is there mainly to try to get things moving along smoothly, like asking questions to Gremio, which makes sense because he's mostly concerned with making sure that Bianca gets married. But he also kind of plays the peacekeeper, when he says, for example, he says, "Let us entreat you stay till after dinner." But I think when he keeps saying stuff like Catherine's worse than Petruchio, he's kind of in disbelief because if Lucentio marries Bianca, he won't be able to pretend to be rich anymore. So while he's trying to get everything running smoothly, he subconsciously wants Kate's wedding to not go as smooth because he still wants to be Lucentio.
I had Petruchio's role in his monologue at the very end, and in this monologue, he is very dominant and possessive. For example, the lines, "But for my bonny Kate, she must be with me, and I will be master of what is mine own." And I think this is relevant throughout the entire play because there's the common theme of degrading women, so to speak, and viewing them as property. And I think the fact that this is in a large monologue used in a dominant tone, an aggressive tone, because Petruchio's very masculine. Also, to go along with the theme of possessing Kate as opposed to loving her, earlier in the scene during the wedding when Kate asks him to stay, he rejects her, and I think that this just is a continuation of how he views her and how he views women and how most men in that time and in this play view women.
The arms were
Okay.
I'm gonna have bloopers.
Yep. We're gonna have bloopers.
We are. It's happening.
Okay.
One, two, three.
Take your time.
Mac.